Yeah, Boots.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is 25 minutes past 12. Quiet, please, up the back. Thank you. Shh. It is 25 past 12, so we're going to give you some time with the champ. Still undefeated IBF World Welterweight champ, Jaron Boots Ennis. And over to the floor for questions for myself, Boots, and of course Bozy as well.
Down the front. Nice job.
Yo, thank you.
Hey, what's up, Boots? This is Najee from Cigar Talk. I know in the ring questions, you said immediately that you were thinking about going to 154. You weren't sure about the pop. Can you talk about that a little more? Was it just the punching power? Was it you making weight? Can you talk about just the idea of moving to 54?
I felt good, but like I said, I'm getting older. I'm 27, I'll be 28 next year, so I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna talk to the team and see what we're gonna do. I made weight easy. I was comfortable, but we'll see.
Hey, Jaron, but during the fight, it seemed like the referee was letting a little more things go tonight. Did you feel like that there was too much holding going on? And Eddie, this is a question for one of my colleagues in Atlantic City. Do you see a potential of bringing a matchroom card to Atlantic City?
Yeah, I'm about to say, after I dropped him, I feel like he was holding ever since then. That's on me, though. I got to take a half a step back and start ripping them shots and using more angles. Just listening a little more. My dad was saying everything right, and I just wasn't doing it,
Question. Yeah, for me, Atlantic City, obviously, a historic city for boxing, some great venues there. We love it here, to be honest with you. We've been here twice in 4 or 5 months. Huge crowds both times. But yeah, love to return to Atlantic City at some point.
First, a question for Boots and then another for you, Eddie. Boots, compare and contrast the first fight to this fight tonight. And Eddie, we just saw him do definitely over 10,000, I don't know the official numbers, against a fighter that no one was calling for in the fight other than the IBF. Compare that against what you'd expect Mario Barrios or another titleist in this division to do against that level of opponent. I mean, that does speak to his star power in the city, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, last time was obviously the return of big-time boxing in Philadelphia, and tonight, like you said, we put a great card together. It was a great atmosphere. We know that the unifications do great numbers here in the city, but at the same time, we've got to look at the options around. I mean, there's only 2 options: a unification or a big fight at 154. That's it.
What's more reasonable, do you think, Norman Jr. or Mario Barrios?
I think that we've got Stanionis is in a mandatory against Giasov, our guy. BBC have already messaged me saying, look, could we step aside Giasov and go straight into Stanionis? They're going to look at that performance and fancy their chances. Oscar De La Hoya's been tweeting, we're ready, Vergil Ortiz against Boots. I like that. But what they don't understand is when Boots is fighting those guys, it's all about trying to make it entertaining. The first fight was a stinker. I actually thought that was a good fight tonight. And by the way, I also think that guy beats most 147-pounders. I think he's a good fighter. But Boots is just trying to make it exciting, trying to get him out of there. He doesn't really have a lot of regard for what's coming back. He's getting hit too much because he's kind of not really even motivated. And against Barrios, against Stanionis, against Norman, it's going to be different. And against Ortiz, it's going to be different. And the performance has got to be different. Because he knows, and Bozy knows, that performance might not be good enough to beat one of those guys. But it will be a different performance from Boots against one of those guys. Don't worry about that. But now we've got a really big decision to make. I never like giving up world titles. But sometimes the time is right. And, we may get a substantial offer to fight Virgil Ortiz in Saudi Arabia. And then, from there, it's on Jaron and Bozy. That's it. And he'll get my advice, but these are the guys that will make the decision. But for me, I think it's only unification or Ortiz. That's it.
For Boots, what do you think of that February 22nd fight against Ortiz? What do you think of that February 22nd fight against Ortiz?
Like I always say, I want to fight the best. I don't try to fight easy, bottom tier guys. When you fight the best, you're gonna be better.
Eddie, what, you said you would have advice for him. What is your advice? Is to take the much
It
bigger
depends
fight?
on the financial package, depends on what we want to do long term, depends if we don't want to return to 147. You know, the reason that we fought Chukhadzhian tonight was because Boots had a desire to capture the other championships at 147. So we've got to review that position. We've got to look at the option against Virgil Ortiz. We've got to look at the financial package for that fight as well. Because as well, don't forget, you know, a win over someone like Virgil Ortiz on a Riyadh season card is going to take his profile to another level. So it's going to be very tempting. And by the way, it's a brilliant fight. A brilliant fight. I mean, Boots against Virgil Ortiz is one of the best fights out there to be made. Not just in the division, but in boxing. Two tremendous young fighters.
JP Miranda, LatinoSports.com. Question for both of you. Throughout the fight, Ryan Garcia was tweeting away, saying he would knock out Boots. If you had your choice between Ryan Garcia at 147 and having to continue to make that weight, or going up to 154 to face off with Virgil Ortiz, what would your choice be?
That's what I mean.
For both of them.
No. Let's bring him on. Come on. All he do is talk and tweet. Right? You know what I'm saying? I'm here to make history. And I guarantee I'll put him out. For sure.
What do you think, Eddie? If you had your
I think,
choice.
listen, Ryan Garcia is one of the biggest names in the sport. If he wants to fight at 147 against Boots, this is what I'm saying about the performance tonight. It was a good performance. There was nothing special. So people like Ryan Garcia going to be sitting at home doing whatever they're doing and getting brave. Getting brave? What do you mean? Wow, just watching the fight. What do you think? But they're going to get brave. Stanionis has been on. Oscar the Lawyer's been on. Ryan Garcia's been on. Good.
Well, Ryan's a major marquee fight.
Of course,
Yeah.
we've got. But listen,
They can go,
there's talk.
they can go
and
ahead and
there's,
fall
you
for
know,
that if they want to.
the reality is, you know, if Ryan Garcia wants to come back from his ban in May or June or whenever he's going to come back and go straight into a fight with Boots Ennis, we would more than welcome that. You're only going to see the best of him against great fighters, and Ryan Garcia's a good fighter. You know, he's well out there, but he's a good fighter.
Boots right here to the. How much different is it, you know, fighting on the road where you're more away from distractions versus fighting at home where you're more accessible? You know, you got family, friends, the pressure to perform. How much different is that?
Ain't really too much different. You know, everything the same for me. I don't have any distraction at all. For real. You know, I'm comfortable at home, comfortable on the road. It don't really matter where it's at.
Hit First Boxing. First things first, man, congratulations on this win, Ennis.
Appreciate it.
Bozy, I don't know if the stat close, but in this fight, we didn't see no body shots. In my eyes, I didn't see hardly any body shots. Today, Ennis, man, one of the best fighters in my eyes, was a headhunter. What was you telling him in the corner?
This is what you got from the point. Go to the body. Walk him. Who should have walked him down? But every time he got close to him, he would grab him and hold him. That's why I told him that's where the face comes in. You know what I mean? Them things he normally do. He didn't do none of it. You know what I mean? He just, I guess he got bored with it. You know what I mean? That's why he was taking those chances like that. And just like Eddie said, it was somebody that was at the top, you know, the top of the line, like 127 pound champ or some. You would see different attitude.
Boots, Kevin Garcia with Fight Hype. So I just wanted to get your response or thoughts, you know, after your performance is obviously going to invite people like we were just talking about, Ryan Garcia to say, hey, you know, he may be susceptible to my hook. Or Bud, after the fight, tweeted, and he gave you like advice. He didn't say anything crazy, but felt a little cryptic. But what's your response to those people who are going to now obviously try to cast doubt on your ability to perform against those dudes, Ryan or Bud?
I love it. You know, they ain't gonna do nothing but add fuel to the fire. You know, for the next performance. You know, that's what I need. That's what I want. You know, that's what I'm saying. Next fight gonna be even better. You know, I ain't worried about nothing. For real. You know what I'm saying? I know my next fight I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be better. You know, just, you know, go back to with the team and focus on listening.
Got you. Any response to Bud's tweet? He tried to give you like some advice. He said, you know, be careful, one slip up, you know, it could cost you everything.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Okay, nothing.
Boots, Mariano Agnew with the final bell. Can you talk a little bit about the fighters that you promoted on the undercard tonight?
Dennis, the Quiet Storm Thompson, you know, got a second round stoppage. He looked beautiful tonight, you know. He only 2-0. He for somebody 8-5, you know. What young up and come fighters doing that? You know, he looked phenomenal. He looked strong. He looked sharp. He did his thing, and then you know, my other fighter Ismail the Chef Muhammad did his thing. You know, his fight got dropped down 2 rounds because of a little delay, but he was about to put that kid out. You know, both of them guys is tremendous fighters, and I love and appreciate them. You know, and I'm glad they building and developing each and every day. You know, I can't wait to take their career to the next level.
And Eddie, can you talk a little bit about the undercard from your perspective, particularly the Khalil Ko fight?
Yeah, it's a great undercard. I mean, Bam was sensational, as we've discussed, has done his press conference. Ray Ford looked great. And Khalil Ko was in an absolute war. It was a brilliant fight. But his conditioning was shit. I mean, that's the reality. I don't know what else to say. Like, you can't be blowing out of your arse after 3 rounds if you want to go on and become a world champion fighter. You've got to live the life, and you've got to be ready to go to the trenches against someone like Manuel Gallegos, who's not anywhere near world level, but is a good, tough opponent that's going to give you rounds to progress you to the next level. So, you know, Boots knows, and his young fighters will know, and he'll tell them conditioning is key.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what we talk about on weight as well. That's why the decision around weight is so important, and Khalil struggled at weight. If you don't get your weight right, if you're not conditioned, you're going to find tough times in the fight, and if you can't come through them, you're going to get beat. And that's what happened to Khalil Ko tonight. So he'll be back, but he's got to learn a spiteful lesson. Amo Williams, great to see him back. You know, Zaquin Moses, very, very good fighter. And so is Dennis and Ishmael as well.
And
really,
Ray Ford.
And Ray Ford, a great performance, as I said. You know, I think I think we got the top 230 pounders in the world in Nunes and Ray Ford, and I think he's a future world champion, 2-weight world champion.
Okay, now we're finally here at the final start at this thing that we constantly continue to ask. So, look, you guys did a tremendous performance. Shout out to everybody from Philadelphia that came out to support. Shout out to Boots. Shout out to the trainer, Boots Ennis. And like, look, we know the 2 options that you want to pick, but there's still a 3rd option. That 3rd option is the most exciting man in boxing, Blair the Flair, fighting Jaron Boots Ennis in a major hit in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to leave the messages to the media, but one thing I will say is I like you, Blair. I think you're a very funny guy.
I will go viral again.
Yeah, and I do think you can fight, but we got to move on to that next level now because.
Okay, so you saying you want to move on to the next level, but I'm yet still the only fighter in the welterweight division that actually fought a major name. So why not make this fight happen?
Because we want either a major name or...
A major name is Blair the Flair.
No, I'm afraid you're not.
Let's see, how?
No,
how do you say?
You're definitely...
When's the last time somebody knocked a tooth out from Broner?
It doesn't matter. Adrian Broner...
When's the last time he went viral on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter?
Adrian Broner is shot to pieces, right? Let me tell you one thing now. Whilst I take the microphone off you, I think you're a lovely guy. I've got a good fight for you. Karen Chukhadzhian. I'll tell you what I'll do. Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what I'll do. Oh look, the lights have gone out on Blair the Flair. Right. Listen, someone's leaning on the light, by the way. Who's ever leaning on the wall is leaning on the light. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll do. I will put the fight on. You against Karen. Okay? You beat him, we'll get you a major fight. Alright?
Against who?
Against a big welterweight, Conor Ben, maybe Jaron Ennis, we'll see.
Can we get that in writing?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, quite.
Okay.
Well, we want to go to the next level.
Look, the whole thing is, did I not get enough? Did I not do enough?
No, absolutely not. You've never done enough in your career to fight Jaron Ennis. Who have you beaten?
Okay. How many ex-champs did you guys fight?
Blair.
No, how many ex-champions you have
Blair, you've never... You do not have a... Stop it.
How many ex-champions did Conor
You do not have a...
At least I fought 2.
You do not have... he fought Chris Algieri, he's a former world champion. By the way...
Chris Algieri.
Yeah, by the way...
That's right.
We're going to move on to the media. It was great chatting to you. Every home should have.
Thank you, Blair.
Right here.
We like the way you talk.
Over here.
We love you, Blair.
Over here. Got a question for Boots, reference to the fight against Chukhadzhian. After the knockdown, could you talk about Chukhadzhian's toughness? Because he took a number of shots there over the course of those rounds there, over the course of the fight, and, wasn't able to, I guess, go down after that first knockdown. So could you talk about Chukhadzhian's toughness?
He had good toughness, but that just is more so me rushing my shot, not bending my knees. It's a lot of little stuff. Being lazy a little bit, like just Lex Diesel, can't be like that, I definitely would have got the knockout if I would have, bent my knees and used my ankles and listened to my corner more. That's all.
First of all, I want to say congratulations to Boots and his team. They're bringing the fight to Philly. We definitely need that. But Boots, for this to be, if this is going to be your last fight at 147, are you excited about what you did in the ring tonight?
Like I said, I mean, let me go watch it and I give you a response. Right now, I feel like it was a okay performance. Like I could have been way better. And like I said, listen to my team more and stop being lazy, not bending my knees and stuff like that, not using ankle, not jabbing, just being smarter, and things like that. But yeah.
So what was the game plan coming into the fight?
Body work, stay behind that jab, like pressing his back a little bit more, and things like that, cutting the ring off. But he wasn't really moving too much, though.
Now, I want to know what's the feeling being though you fighting at home. Your last fight, you had 14,000. This fight, Eddie Hearn, you said yeah, 11,000. How did that make you feel being as though your crowd decreased in a few months?
I mean, it decreased because of the opponent, the opposition. Nobody really wanted to see this fight. I took this fight because I wanted to stay busy. And I ain't want to be sitting around for another year. I ain't trying to be stale and all that stuff and things like that. So, I took this fight to stay busy and that's my mandatory. I had to fight him.
So
I'm sorry, we're gonna move to the next one. So
Right here.
everybody can get to jump
We're
in.
just going to have a few more, guys, because we've got to leave the building soon.
Hey, Eddie, Jay with Sportbox TV. Looping back around to Virgil Ortiz versus Boots, what do you think the fight looks like? How does it play out, and in what fashion does it end?
Listen, I think it's a great fight, and Boots knows he's got to be better than tonight against a fighter like Virgil Ortiz, but the training would be different, the mindset would be different, the challenge would be different, and that's where you're going to see the best of a great fighter like Boots. So, I really respect Virgil Ortiz. I love Robert Garcia, Oscar De La Hoya's a plonker, and we got to make sure. And I'll be saying to Boots, we can't afford to lose that fight. I can't lose to that fucker. No way.
We definitely ain't.
If you don't win that fight, I'll never talk to you again.
Good. We don't do that.
Good.
Like I said, the better the competition, the better I'm gonna be, and all Virgil do is go forward. Y'all know I love pressure fighters.
Eddie, you getting ready for Oscar?
Listen, there's always a price, but I just want to watch him fight Virgil Ortiz. Obviously, there's a lot of conversations with His Excellency, and we'll be moving forward to potentially make that fight. Last question, guys.
Eddie, what's a plunker?
All right. I don't know the word in America,
Say it.
Just what word would you guys know?
Say
Just
it, Eddie.
Prick. Really? You know what I mean? Listen, with all jokes aside, Oscar's like one of the greatest fighters of all time, so I'll give him respect. And I don't mind his clapback Thursday stuff. It's a bit weird, but he's a character, and he gets people talking. And him against me, not in the ring, but in a matchup with our fighters, there's so many great fights to make. Shakur against Zapeda's pretty much done. Boots against Ortiz. Ramirez against Opataya. That's Zerdo. The other Ramirez against Catterall. Pacheco against, he said Munguia, but Munguia left him, so we can't do that. But there's loads of other fights out there to be made. I just want to make the best fights and the best cards. So, jokes aside with Oscar, we can make a tremendous night for the sport. And that's what His Excellency wants to do. And I do believe you'll see these fights come together on February 22nd.
Eddie, just one really quick one. Keyshawn last night, that performance, him tank, what do you think about that fight?
I love Keyshawn. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's getting better and better and better. You can't take, when a fighter comes in 7 pound over or 6 or 5 pound over or whatever it was, it's not because they're struggling at the weight, it's because you know that camp, everything's broken down in that fight. So I don't think it was the same Lemos that fought Richardson Hitchens, but I think that's irrelevant. He demolished him. And that's what you got to do sometimes. You got to go in there. The crowd looked great in Norfolk, Virginia. Great for boxing. Keyshawn's a great young fighter. And in time, I think he'll be a great fight for Gervonta Davis. But he still lost 3 times to Andy Cruz, our fighter. And he'd never beat Andy Cruz. And Jaron Ennis can also confirm that. And Bozy can confirm that because he trains Andy Cruz. So I think if Keyshawn wants to fight before Gervonta Davis, sign us up for Andy Cruz. He took him to school 3 times, and he'd be ready to do it again. And on that,
couple last words for fans worldwide. Couple last words for fans worldwide, Boots.
You said a couple questions?
Last words for your fans.
Oh, last
Couple
words. I appreciate everybody, they've been tuning in and watching me, next fight will be better. We're gonna put on a show, we continue to keep getting better, keep developing, stay tuned.
thanks for everything, Philadelphia. Thank you.
Eddie, one last question. Could we see Berlanga versus Manny?